Okay. Hi. So in your box, you're going to see the background of your leather, your little journal kit, and so you'll see that it has to be laid out a certain way. So this is the outside of your journal kit. I've got my pieces opened up now for the stamping parts. If you want to try your stamping kit, again, you would have tried them first on your original pieces, the little scrap pieces. But when you come on here, you're going to wet your leather. I'm going to show you how to do this. I'm going to wet the leather a little bit, let it soak in, and then I'm going to take the stamping kit. And so what you can do is this is your end, and then you just put whatever stamp you want on it, and you twist it. And then you're going to take this stamping kit. See, I'm going to make this little pretty fancy little rosette here, and I'm going to press it down. And you want to make your leather pretty wet. Mine isn't super wet, but I'm pressing down. If you have a little mallet or something and you want to tap it, you can do that. And when you pull it up, you'll see you've made that really nice pattern. So you may want to, I was just trying it out here on this just so I'd show you what it looks like. If you want your design to be all nice, you might want to mark it with a pencil, figure it out beforehand. But I will say you want to go ahead and stamp this before you turn it into a journal. Okay, so this is my journal. And if you take out your instructions, they will talk about you're going to lay this out in a certain way. And it says that you want to think of this imaginarily as being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And so it'll talk about going in and out of these numbers. This is my left insert, and I've labeled it A, B, C, and D, just like the instructions. The instructions are kind of hard to follow, so what I want you to do is I want you to follow along with me and stop the video as you need to make it really easy on yourself. Go. All right, so now I've got this laid out the way I want to do, and it says on there you're going to start with the right insert. I've put my wax linen thread. I love wax linen thread because it will kind of stick together. So if you do something like that, it kind of sticks together. And I've put it through my needle. So I'm going to take this, and it says that you're going to, I'm going to move the insert, and it says you're going to go into space 1, and you're going to stitch that through. And it says leave several inches. I usually leave more than it says. You've got plenty of thread. But you want to have this, and I turn it into a little bookmark. And so it says come back into space 2. And when I pull that through, it looks like this, and you can see on the outside, it's making this pattern. Now, I'm going to take this one here, and I'm going to go into space A. I'm going to go inside, and we're just going to stitch through it. I'm going to go into A and come out B. And when I come out B, I'm going to go to 4. If you want to do it as 2 steps, you can do that. So now I've done this, and I'm going to go into space 4. And I'm going to pull it through. And I'm going to pull it a little taut. You don't want it to be super loose in here. You want it to kind of be right there. All right, so now I'm outside of the space 4, and I'm going to come back into space 6. And so that's what I've got on the outside. And then if I open this up and look on the inside, I'm going to come back into space C. All right, so now I've got this. I'm going to tighten that a little bit. All right, now I'm going to go to D, and I'm going to come out. And what you're really doing for this first part is just going in and out on this side. So now I'm going to come out to 8. And then your directions say stop. So I'm going to stop. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this taut. So see how I'm kind of tightening it up a little bit, and I want it to look good. So now I'm going to come back into the 7 space. And we're going to do the exact opposite, going instead of from the top to the bottom, we're going to go from the bottom to the top with our stitches. So I'm going to take this side and I'm going to start with the D. So I'm going to go in with the D and pull it through. And see, it's doing just like what the other one did. And then I bet you can guess what I'm going to do next. I'm going to go into the C, through that little C hole right there. And I'm going to come back out. And I'm going to go into the 5. And so there we go, into the 5. And if you're working and it's a little loose, so you can kind of see this, or you can, as you're playing along, you can do imagine my numbers on yours, do that. At the end, we're just going to tighten it up. So now I'm on the outside, and so we're going to go into the 3. And again, if you can follow along with these instructions, great, but if you can't, then you can just do it along with me. So if I flip it over, look at that. So we're really doing a bookbinding. And so you probably know what we're going to do next. We're going to go into the B. And I'm going to pull that one through. Now, I'm going to take from the B and go into the A. And we're going to go back out the 1. Now notice this tail is still hanging here, and I'll explain what I'm going to do with that in a little bit. So I've got this, and see they're a little loose. I need to tighten them both and pull them nice and tight and kind of snug it up so it looks really good. Okay, so we're restarting, and you can see that's what I've got here. Now on the finished one, this is going to cross over. So we're going to go from space 1, which is on the inside, and we're going to go into cross it over, and we're going to space 4. See that? So when you look at this, you can see, oh, that doesn't make any sense. Why am I doing that? It's making a really pretty pattern, but what you're about to do here is you're going to take this and you're going to go into that B. So see how I'm going into the B? And that's going to secure this main part of the book, because we're going to come to the C. And now it's getting a little tight, so I'm going to bend my book like this because I've made it really tight. And so you can see how I filled this in. So I went from the into the C, and now, okay, so I came through here, my C, and now I have to go back into that 6th position, and I'm going to pull this through. And then I'm going to cross over and go into this position, which is the 7. Remember, these are imaginary numbers for you, but for me, they're actually written on my book. And so I've made that part of the X. So now I'm going to go So now I'm going to take from 7 and I'm going to go to 8. And again, every time I do this, I want to tighten it a little bit. And so I'm on the outside again. So what we're going to do is going to make the second part of this, which means I'm going to come in here to number 5. And it kind of spins when I work on it. It's okay. I really do love bookbinding. I haven't done it for a while, but I think it's so neat to kind of make these. These are called signatures. And so to put together signatures of a book and then to sew it in. There's all kinds of fancy patterns you can look at if you want. And, you know, kind of do whatever you want after you've kind of made this one and you have your hand. You've tried your hand at it. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to go into space C. I'm going to bend the book. Be careful, this is a needle. I don't want you poking yourself too hard. So I'm going to take this, and I bet you can guess where I'm going now. I'm going to go into the B space, and I'm going to come back out. Come here, you needle. I'm going to go into B. And I'm going to push it on through. And so if you get lost at any point, what I like to do is I'll just look and say, oh, okay, I need to be over here. So I've got to come out my 3. So I'll end up creating this crossover here. So I'm coming out my 3. And then I'm going to go into this one. I went out my 3, and I'm coming over into this one. And I'm going to take these 2 parts, and I'm going to pull it snug. So I want to make sure I pull everything nice and taut. And the great thing about wax linen thread is it will slide through things very easily. And so when I'm done, I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to do something a little kind of tricky. I'm going to take this and I'm going to tie this together and make myself a big old knot. Because when I do this and I make books, I like to have it so that this part becomes a bookmark. And so you can use this to mark whatever page you're in, and it just becomes really nice. And so if I cut this end and I string it with beads or whatever, I can do that. So I'm going to now take this, and these are hard to get through, so you want to kind of pierce them. I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to kind of open them up a little bit and stretch them out just a little bit, because the cord that they gave us to go through here is thick, and you want a nice thick cord to do this. It's going to be really lovely, but you want to make sure that you kind of have it open so it's easy for you to bring it through. So one of the things it tells you to do is find the one on this side. And so I'm going to pull this other one over here, and you'll have to hunt. It's not real obvious. You're going to have to hunt for the part, oops, sorry. You have to hunt for the part that kind of opens up. Make sure that opens all the way, because you're going to have to go back through that. So I like to stretch it a little bit. I also took the part on the other end, and I made sure this was cut at a really nice kind of angle. So I'm going to take this part, and it says to bring it through this way into this one. Well, I had problems with that. If you can do that, more power to you. I applaud you. I decided to take my pointy end and kind of put it through here, and that worked easier for me. So I'm going to take this, and you can see I'm having a little trouble pushing this through here. So if you need to take a needle or a scissor or something and just kind of help it go through, you can do that. So just push it on through. And that's why I suggested, because this leather is it's kind of hard. So you want to make sure you're kind of really using, kind of softening it up a little bit. As you use leather, it becomes softer. And so this journal that you're making will be really, in the beginning, it's going to be kind of stiff, but as you keep working with it, it's going to be so nice and so soft, and it will be something that you can keep forever if you want. So you can see how it's kind of coming through there, and I'm going to pull it. And again, this part does get kind of frustrating. And if the person doing the demo is getting a little frustrated, I want you to know it's okay if you're frustrated too. So just kind of take your time, do what you need to do to get it through, and just kind of wiggle it. And as I said, I'm doing it the other way. But see, now that I've got this here, this just worked out easier for me because I did this several times. All right, so I end up in the same place. And I take this, and I wrap this around, and it says to wrap it around twice. And then you bring this back through here, and ta-da! Your journal will close up with this beautiful rawhide. And some of you ended up with some really funky pieces of rawhide that I cut apart for you. Some of you got some different ones, so you can really think about, you know, if you want to kind of add different things onto here or whatever. That was the thing that was so fabulous for me about this box, was learning that even in a piece of hide, the same hide, that there would be different parts of the leather that would be different thicknesses or feel different. And it was just so neat to learn. So what we're going to do is I'm going to do a swap out now, and I'm going to show you one that I finished. Okay, so here I mentioned that I take those ends, and I don't want to cut them off. You could cut them off if you want. But I had beads laying around my house. They happen to be pink, so I decided to use the pink beads. And so now I have, exactly like I tied yours off, I have all these different little bookmarks, and I can use them together. I can use them singly. I'm going to undo this, and oh, see, I've done this one several times, so it's already getting so much softer, and it's really nice. So I did, I was just playing with things that you might have around your house when I was doing this. If you've done arts and ag, you probably have paints around your house that have come through the program. You can use those and paint on this. I did a little watercolor kind of paint on here. I used a Sharpie. You can use pens, whatever you have, and I did a little Zentangle. If you say, oh, I don't know what Zentangle is, you can Google it, and there's all kinds of fun designs that you can copy from. So I made some Zentangle designs here. Then I used different markers. Like, again, I was just using things I had around my house to show you the possibilities for your journal. I took a stamp pad, and I opened it up and ran it along the edge here to give this kind of different coloration around the edge. So I open up my journal, and I haven't used it yet, but it looks the same as yours should, hopefully, at this point. And I really like these pages because they're unlined, so you can draw on them, you can write in it, whatever you want, just to really have a lovely keepsake from this. So this is my journal. Hopefully you're going to love yours. I'm super excited to have shared this project with you, and I loved learning about all the different things you could do with leather, with the stamping, with the painting, and I can't wait to have this become really soft as I carry it over the next few years. I hope you've enjoyed this craft and your arts and agriculture box for this month. Thank you.